can explain it is I was constantly exhausted even if I got good sleep the night before, and I quite literally did not feel like doing anything, but yet I would still be bored. So at that point, I felt like I was just existing, not living. And while I was in that dark time, I literally did not feel like I was capable of getting out of it, but here I am. I'm living and breathing, because when you have no motivation or energy to do anything except rot in bed and stress, it's hard to enjoy life. And nobody deserves that. It's the worst feeling in the world. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. But me personally, I had to get to that point before I was actually forced to make the uncomfortable changes in my life that I usually wouldn't do. Hey guys, it's Alessia. Welcome back to my channel. Sorry I started the video on such a depressing note. If you're feeling like that, I swear you're gonna get better. I have so many tips for you. I feel like almost all my videos are how to be more productive or how to get your life together, but I didn't realize how much I was letting my productivity affect how I felt about myself in general. Like, my self-esteem was literally dictated by my productivity. But realistically, if you don't take the time to heal and better understand yourself, you're never gonna be productive again. Simple as that. Imagine your child self sitting in front of you right now. Say your child self wasn't living up to your expectations of them. Would you yell at them and tell them to get their shit together and force them to do stuff when they don't want to do it? No. You would take it slow and go gentle on them. So it's like, no shit, I got burnt out. I was putting these inhumane, unachievable expectations on myself, and while I was doing that, I was talking shit to myself constantly. Nobody deserves to be spoken to like that all the time, especially if it's from the person that should love you the most. I am so sorry. I just noticed I wasn't looking in the lens this whole time. See, normally I would start like punching myself in the face. Not literally, just saying like, you dumbass. But that actually leads to my first point. You gotta work on accepting and loving yourself. Yeah, you may be a mess right now. It's okay, girl, we've all been there, or most of us have. But the whole process starts with accepting yourself as you are right in this moment. Because pushing your feelings to the side just makes the recovery process longer and harder. It's just gonna delay it, and then you're gonna have to deal with all the shit later. I learned the hard way. As I was constantly pushing those feelings aside all the time, the feelings became so strong that I actually couldn't even get out of bed at that point. And because of that, I became so hard on myself that all day, every day, I would constantly focus on what I wasn't doing right. But girl, let me let you in on a little secret. The key to accepting yourself is focusing on what you are doing right and celebrating every single accomplishment, no matter how tiny. Were you kind to someone today? That probably just made their day. That's an accomplishment. I literally thought that only accepting myself at my best was the epitome of self-love. And by that I mean I would only show myself love and acceptance when I was being productive, when I had a full face of makeup on, when I was wearing outfits that complemented my body. But going on this journey taught me something that at first wasn't easy to get through my little noggin. And it's that I never truly loved myself because I wasn't willing to accept myself at my worst. Girl, at this point, take out a notepad and start taking notes because I'm low-key spitting. So maybe you're going through this for a reason. Maybe it's teaching you how to love yourself so unconditionally that nothing can bring you down again. Maybe this is the worst of it. Maybe once this is over, you'll be able to view everything with a fresh new mindset. So that right there is the first step, because it's gonna help you stop trying to control and change yourself and instead work with what's already in you. You're more powerful than you know. You just have to realize it. Also, that when you work on accepting and loving yourself, it's much easier to take that time to rest, which is necessary. Okay, it does look like you're resting because you're not actually doing anything productive, but in reality, you're just so stressed and overwhelmed that you're literally paralyzing yourself. That's not rest, that's mental torture. So at this point, relaxing is actually one of the most productive things you can do. You want to be productive? Go take a nap, girl. I'm kidding, it's not that easy. If it was that easy, I would be sleeping forever. Treat yourself like you're actually sick with a cold. Just like your body needs time to rest, your mind needs time to rest too. To let yourself and your brain finally get some rest, you have to release all your expectations you have on yourself and all of the pressure you're putting on yourself. Sometimes it's okay if all you're doing is existing, because that's what's gonna make you feel like you're living again. If you're like me and you have trouble resting because your mind just won't shut off, ever, doing mindfulness techniques like meditation and deep breathing actually help a lot. And I'm not just saying that to be like, I'm a spiritual gal. Deep breathing especially never worked for me until I tried this technique, and you're gonna do it with me right now. So the technique is when you breathe in for 4 seconds and then breathe out for 6. I noticed that when I kept breathing like that, it literally immediately lifted my anxiety off of my body. Start treating your self-care like it's the most productive thing you can do. Because it is. Actually, an example of self-care is spending time with the people who uplift you and make you feel good, which leads into my next point, which is talk to someone. Connection with others is a crucial part of being human. That's one of the reasons why we were put on this earth. So without those connections, we can start to struggle mentally. So I am so thankful that I have supportive people around me to lean on, but I also don't like putting everything I'm feeling onto them at once. So that's when I forced myself to take the step of starting therapy, even though I was terrified, and that is the exact reason I didn't actually start it sooner. And let me tell you, I never would have thought that therapy would be the turning point that it was for me. Like, most of the things that I teach you guys, I learned from my therapist because she slays. She's actually been helping me to work on my tendency of putting way too much pressure on myself, which she taught me comes from a place of fear. So we've been turning that fear into calmness and power. But honestly, up until this point, I think I've gone through at least 5 therapists that I just didn't vibe with until I found my guru. Something that actually makes finding a therapist way easier is BetterHelp, the sponsor of today's video. Regardless if you struggle with mental health or not, I think every single person should be doing therapy because it just gives you the tools to cope and approach your life in different ways. And life can get hard sometimes. Most of the time. So people who are in therapy are extra prepared for anything that comes their way. BetterHelp not only makes therapy more affordable, but it helps finding a therapist so much easier, so you don't have to struggle like I did. Because literally all you have to do is fill out a questionnaire, and within a few days you'll get matched with a licensed therapist that's best fit to your specific needs. And don't worry if you don't vibe with them. You're allowed to change therapists at any time until you find one that you actually love. If you do want to take the step of starting therapy, which I do highly recommend, you could get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/Alessia, which I will also link down below in the description, so it's easy. Trust me, therapy may just be a turning point for you like it was for me. But while you're waiting to get matched with your therapist, let me try and be yours for now. I got you. We all know this next point. We just don't do it, even though we get told it all the time. And I said take breaks from social media. By taking breaks, I don't mean deleting your accounts or deleting the apps, but if you're willing to take that step, do it, because it's a good thing to do. Like, my boyfriend deleted all of his social media apps months ago, and to support me, he literally goes on Safari and goes on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok only to support me. And look at memes sometimes, I guess. I don't know about y'all, but I can literally scroll for hours without noticing until I see that one TikTok that's like, okay, stop scrolling, you're addicted. And I'm like, oh. Most of the content I see on social media makes me feel bad about myself and my life, no matter if it's an unrealistic beauty standard, people only showing the good parts of their lives, or even positive content that's motivational, because most of the time it just reminds me of what I'm not doing. When you're constantly scrolling for hours every day, your brain gets used to that constant dopamine. So eventually all of the other things in life that would give you that dopamine rush, like going out in nature or seeing your favorite cousin, you're not going to enjoy it the same anymore. That's the worst thing ever. Why would you want that? Because our brains aren't supposed to be getting those constant dopamine hits. Like, the beauty of life is that the beauty only comes out sometimes, you know? Also, God did not create our brains to be overloaded with so much information in the span of a short period of time. Like, we're watching 5 TikToks about 5 different things in the span of 3 minutes. I've tried almost everything to limit my social media use, and absolutely nothing would work until my boyfriend stole my phone one day, went into my settings, went to app limits, and put 2 hours on all of my social medias. So he did that without telling me, and then put a passcode that I still don't know to this day. So when those 2 hours are up, it kicks me out of the app and asks for the passcode, and unless I know it, I can't get back into the app. Girl, at first I was livid. I was so mad. I was like, it's my job, how are you gonna do that to me? But it's literally the best thing he could have done for me. Social media is so powerful that it actually has the power to change your mindset. So that leads to my next point. If you don't change your mindset, you won't change anything, because we can't solve our problems with the same thinking we use to create them. If you're surrounding yourself with people who speak negatively all the time, that is your first mistake, Miss Guru. When you're constantly hearing something, it actually gets engraved into your brain, and then you start speaking and thinking that way. So you actually have to try to surround yourself with people who find the positive in things. Plus, who wants to be around someone that's complaining all the time? In my whole life, I've always been a pessimist because I grew up around pessimists. So, yay. So if you're like me, this may take a bit to get the hang of, but whenever you catch yourself thinking